The wind was dead still that night. Not a single leaf moved, not even the trees creaked, and that was the first sign something wasn't right. We'd been driving back from a night shoot for our horror channel, half awake, half joking about stopping somewhere spooky just for laughs. My buddy Sam said, "Hey, there's an old cemetery not far from here. Locals call it Hollow's Rest." I laughed. Of course they do. Every creepy place has a name like that. But he grinned and said, "Come on, 5 minutes. We'll grab a few photos, maybe a short clip for the channel. What's the worst that could happen?" That's the line that always starts it right. What's the worst that could happen? We pulled up around midnight. The road ended in gravel, swallowed by fog. The headlights barely reached the crooked iron gate ahead. It looked like it hadn't been opened in decades. A rusted sign hung by one chain, swinging slightly, Hollow's Rest Cemetery, ESD 1849. I remember thinking, this place doesn't just look old. It feels old, like time itself had stopped the moment you stepped through those gates. We grabbed our flashlights and cameras, joking nervously as we pushed the gate open. The screech of metal echoed through the night like a scream that went on too long. Sam filmed the whole thing, laughing, first ones to wake the dead. I told him to shut up. It didn't feel right joking there. The air was heavy, like the fog had weight. We started walking through the graves, some toppled, others sunken halfway into the earth. Names worn away, dates so old they barely made sense. Then something caught my eye, a single candle burning at the far end of the cemetery. We froze. "Someone's here," I whispered, but Sam zoomed in with his camera, grinning like this was gold. Perfect. We got ourselves a real ghost hunter's jackpot. We crept closer, the sound of our shoes crunching gravel echoing way too loud. The candle sat in front of a tall headstone, melted wax pooling around what looked like offerings. Small bones, coins, a child's shoe. Sam chuckled nervously. Creepy, but people do weird rituals all the time, right? Then we heard it. Not from far away behind us. A low, dragging sound, like someone, or something, was pulling its feet through the dirt. We spun around, flashlights slicing through fog. Nothing, just the gate far in the distance, and rows of crumbling stones. Sam whispered, "You heard that, right?" I nodded slowly. "Yeah, maybe it's just an animal," but the sound came again. Closer this time and slower. The lights on our cameras began to flicker. Sam smacked his and said, "Batteries dying already." But these were new batteries. We'd just replaced them before heading out. Then the air shifted. You could feel it. Like someone was breathing down your neck. We both turned at the same time and saw something move between the graves. A shape, human-sized, but wrong, too thin, too tall and gliding, not walking. Sam whispered, "Tell me that's not real." I whispered back, "Run." We turned toward the gate, but the fog was thicker now, like a wall. You couldn't see 5 feet ahead. The temperature dropped so fast my breath came out in clouds. And behind us, that dragging sound was faster now. It wasn't walking anymore. It was coming for us. And then my heart stopped for a second. Something had tugged my sleeve hard enough that I stumbled, but when I swung the flashlight around, there was nothing there. Just the fog, thick, white, alive. "Sam," I hissed. He was a few feet ahead, pointing his camera around like he could capture whatever was stalking us. His voice trembled. "Dude, I think something's behind the graves." I looked where he pointed. Between 2 cracked headstones, a shape stood barely visible, almost blending into the mist. I squinted, trying to focus, and that's when I realized it wasn't standing. It was floating, a figure draped in something dark, maybe a cloak, maybe shadows. Its head tilted slowly toward us, and for a second I saw its face, or what was left of one, hollow eyes. Mouth wide open like it was frozen in a scream. Sam shouted, "Run." We bolted through the fog. The camera swung wildly in his hand, flashing bursts of light that barely lit the path. Every few steps I heard that dragging sound again, only now. It wasn't just one, there were many, gravel crunching, dirt shifting, like dozens of footsteps closing in from all sides. We stumbled through rows of headstones, some broken, others halves, wallowed by roots. The fog twisted between them like smoke, curling around our legs, slowing us down. I yelled, "Where's the gate?" Sam shouted back, "It should be straight ahead," but it wasn't. The path we'd come through was gone, completely gone. No sign of the gate, no road, no headlights. Just endless graves stretching into darkness. I stopped to catch my breath, leaning against a crooked cross. My flashlight flickered, and when it came back on, I saw fresh dirt piled at my feet. A freshly dug grave, and beside it, a shovel. Sam came up behind me, panting. "What the hell is this?" Before I could answer, the dirt shifted. Just slightly, like something was moving underneath. I backed away slowly, whispering, "No, no, no." The ground cracked open. Fingers gray, rotted fingers clawed their way through the soil. Then a hand, then another. Sam screamed. I dropped my flashlight. It rolled across the ground, shining up into a half-buried face. Its eyes were open. Its mouth moved, and it whispered my name, Illy. I froze, my name. Sam was shouting something, grabbing my arm, but I couldn't move. The corpse, whatever it was, kept whispering, "Illy, Illy, why did you come back?" I didn't know what it meant. I'd never been there before, but it said it again, louder this time. "Why did you come back?" The ground split wider. Hands were rising from everywhere now, reaching out from the graves, clawing at the air, at our legs, the fog, the earth itself seemed to pulse. Sam pulled me, screaming, "Move." We ran again, tripping over stones and roots, gasping for air. I could still hear them, hundreds of whispers overlapping, calling our names over and over. When we finally stopped, the fog had started to clear, and we were standing in front of something massive. Not the gate, not the road, a mausoleum, old, cracked marble with a rusted iron door. Above it, carved deep into the stone, were words barely visible through moss and grime. "For those who never left Hollow's Rest." Sam swallowed hard. "We can hide inside," he said. I shook my head. "Hide in there? Are you insane?" He was already at the door, pulling. It groaned open, the smell of rot and old air rushing out. I hesitated, looking back at the fog, and saw shapes moving in it. Dozens of them, too many, so I followed him inside. The door slammed behind us, and then we realized we weren't alone. The door slammed shut behind us so hard the echo seemed to shake the air. My flashlight flickered weakly, barely illuminating the inside of the mausoleum. Stone walls, old plaques, rusted candle holders, and that smell, like wet earth and something long dead. Sam whispered, "Was that the wind?" I shook my head. "There's no wind in here." The space was small, maybe 10 by 10 feet, but it felt infinite in the dark. The ceiling arched above us, covered in spiderwebs and dust. There were 5 stone coffins lined along the walls, names carved so deep you could barely read them. One of them had the lid cracked open. Sam lifted his camera, still recording. The screen showed static, like the signal itself was distorted. But in between the glitches, I swear I saw movement, a faint outline standing behind him. "Sam, don't move." He froze. "Why, there's something behind you." He spun around instantly, flashlight slicing through the air. But there was nothing. Just dust swirling where the beam passed. He looked at me, pale. "Don't mess with me right now." "I'm not," I whispered. I saw someone. We both turned toward the cracked coffin. It was slightly open, maybe an inch or two, but just enough to see darkness inside. Sam stepped forward like an idiot and whispered, "Maybe it's an animal." He reached out. I whispered, "Don't." He did it anyway. The second his fingers touched the stone, the air temperature dropped. My breath turned white, and then, from inside the coffin, something knocked back. 3 slow knocks. We stumbled backward, Sam dropping his camera. The screen went black. He picked it up, shaking, and it flickered back on for just a second, long enough to capture what looked like a face pressed against the inside of the lid. We froze, then came a whisper from behind the other coffins. Leave. It wasn't a shout. It wasn't a groan. It was soft, clear, and close. Sam whispered, "Who said that?" We both turned toward the far wall. There, in the corner, a shadow peeled itself off the darkness. Human, shaped, but its head hung low, and its arms were far too long. It moved like it was dragging itself, bones cracking with every step. I backed up until I hit the stone wall. "This isn't happening," I whispered. Sam's flashlight flickered wildly as the shadow reached the middle of the room. Its head tilted up, and for the first time we saw its face. Skin torn, eyes hollow, mouth hanging open. But it wasn't a face made of flesh. It was carved like stone. Sam gasped. "It looks like..." Before he could finish, the stone lid of the nearest coffin slammed shut with a deafening boom. Every light went out, and in the pitch black something whispered again, this time right between us. "You can't leave." We spun around, searching for the door, feeling along the cold walls. There was nothing but stone. No cracks, no seams, just a solid wall where the exit used to be. Sam started to panic. "No, no, no. This can't be happening. It was right here." He slammed his hands against the wall over and over. "Nothing." I tried to stay calm, but my heart was pounding so loud I could barely think. Then I noticed something. Words carved faintly into the wall near where the door had been. I wiped away dust and whispered them out loud. "The living must rest among the dead. To leave, one must take their place." Sam stopped pounding. "What does that mean?" Before I could answer, the air filled with the sound of scraping, like stone grinding against stone. The coffins, their lids were moving, slowly, one by one. The first lid shifted, then the second. Dust poured out, and the smell was unbearable. I covered my mouth. "We have to find another way out." Sam aimed his light toward the center of the room, and we both froze. The shadow from before was still there, but now it was kneeling, hands folded, head tilted toward one of the open coffins. Then, from deep inside the coffin, a hand reached out, long fingers, gray skin, nails sharp as glass. They grabbed the edge of the stone and began to pull. Sam whispered, "No way, no freaking way." The figure started to crawl out. Its joints popped with every movement, its body twisting in ways that weren't human. It looked straight at us, eyes glowing faintly blue. I grabbed Sam. "We're getting out. I don't care how." He nodded, trembling. We turned to the back wall. There was a crack near the floor, barely visible. I dropped to my knees, scraping at it, pulling at the loose stone. It gave way, revealing a narrow tunnel filled with dirt. "We can fit," I shouted. "Crawl." Sam went first, pulling himself through the dirt, coughing and shaking. I followed, my flashlight clamped between my teeth. Behind us, something was crawling too, faster. The whispering started again. Dozens of voices, male, female, old, young, all whispering the same words. "Stay, stay, stay," Sam screamed. "Move, Illy." I crawled faster, dirt filling my mouth and eyes. Something brushed my leg hard. I kicked back and kept going. The tunnel got tighter, the air thinner. My lungs burned. I saw light ahead, a faint bluish glow. Almost there. I gasped. We burst out into open air, tumbling into wet grass. I turned back. The hole we crawled through was gone. Just earth, like it was never there. Sam lay on the ground, breathing hard. His camera was cracked, but somehow it was still recording. He looked at me and said, "Tell me that was part of the game. Please tell me that was a setup." I didn't answer. Because behind him, just past the fence line, I saw them. Figures standing among the graves, dozens of them. All perfectly still, watching, and at the front one of them was holding a candle, the same one we saw when we arrived. The sound of shifting earth filled the air, soft at first, then thunderous. One by one, graves across the cemetery cracked open. dirt spilling like waves. Sam scrambled to his feet, camera shaking in his hand. "Illy, what's happening?" I couldn't even speak. The candle's flame in the distance burned brighter, casting long shadows across the gravestones. And those shadows, they weren't still anymore, they were moving. Figures climbed out from their graves, silent, jerky, like puppets being pulled by invisible strings. Their heads hung low, their arms twitching in unison. It wasn't chaotic, it was rhythmic, coordinated. Like a ritual that had been waiting to begin, the air vibrated with whispers, hundreds of voices murmuring words we couldn't understand. The ground pulsed under our feet like something alive beneath it. Sam grabbed my arm. "We need to go. Now." We ran toward the fence, vaulting over fallen stones, our flashlights swinging wildly. But no matter how far we ran, the gate never appeared. The same path twisted endlessly like the cemetery was folding in on itself. Sam shouted, "We're going in circles." That's when I saw her, a woman in a white dress standing at the far edge of the fog. Her face was hidden, her hair covering her eyes. She wasn't moving, just pointing. I whispered, "She's showing us the way." Sam hesitated. "Are you sure?" "No, but it's all we've got." We ran toward her. The whispering stopped. Everything went silent, like someone hit mute on the world. When we got closer, she slowly raised her head. Her face, gray, hollow, and half-rotted, was smiling. Then she said, in a voice that sounded like it came from underground, leaving so soon, the candlelight went out, and the dark swallowed everything. I was alone. The fog was gone. The silence was unbearable. I called his name, nothing. Just the echo bouncing off endless gravestones. Then his camera flickered to life on the ground in front of me. The screen glitched, showing static, then an image. Sam, inside the mausoleum again. But this time he wasn't moving. He was standing in the same spot the shadow had been before, head tilted down, arms hanging limp, and behind him something was carving his name into the stone wall. Slowly, deeply, I screamed his name, but the screen just flickered again, and the feed cut to black. That's when I heard the whisper, right behind me, "Now it's your turn." The air turned ice cold. I turned around, no one was there. Just an open grave, the same one we saw earlier, candlelight flickering faintly inside. Something in me snapped. I ran. I didn't stop until I saw my car headlights cutting through the trees. I dove in, slammed the door, started the engine, and sped down that road without looking back. When I finally stopped hours later, I checked the footage on my own camera. Every clip played fine except for the last one. It showed me standing at the gate, alone, looking back, and right beside me Sam, smiling, but Sam was never found. Police searched Hollow's Rest for weeks. No sign of him, no tracks, no clues. Just an old camera found near the mausoleum. Inside it was one final photo, a blurry image of two figures standing among the graves, one holding a camera, the other holding a candle. So yeah, if you ever find yourself driving past a place called Hollow's Rest, keep going. Don't stop, don't look, because some stories don't end when you leave the cemetery. Sometimes they follow you home.